Hello, I'm Tushar, project admin of Super Speech Saga, and I'm creating this video so that it can help contributors to understand the requirements of this project and how they can get started to contribute to this repo. So I think you guys must have already went through the introduction part and must have saw this video. Uh, it the project is basically a platform where we can create many games which uses voice input and gives output as a voice too. In this, the twist is that it uses a generative model, Google Gemini, which would generate the dialogues in the real time. You can watch this video if you haven't watched it yet. And I have created a prototype, and in this the characters, we can communicate with the characters in the real time and we would also get a response. The dialogues that are generated are in the real time, and every time the dialogues that are generated are new ones. So now there would be a question that how can I get started to contribute. When you come to the issues tab, you might see that there are various issues like prompts, story, games, and assets, and you might be confused that what exactly I have to do in this particular issue. So, I would first like to explain the structure of the repo. So, this repo, Speech Saga, contains multiple games and they need not have to be related to each other. For example, this Life of Prison Guard is a different game, Mr. Detective is a different game, Princess Quest is a different game, and this prototype is the prototype which I uploaded. So now let us take example of this Back to Future. Now in this game Back to Future, there are four issues: assets, prompts, story, and game. So to make contributors to contribute in the parts of the game that they are comfortable with, we are creating this four. We are segregating this game into four parts. So in assets, in assets we will be creating the graphics of the game. Like for example, you can take reference of this prototype. You can see there are various assets or graphics. These are PNG images. For characters we have these images. So these are the things that comes under the assets part. These are the game assets that will be used by the script. This is a non-technical issue, and based on the efforts that a contributor puts. For example, if the character is very detailed character, it contains a lot of pixels, so in that case uh, it can be also level 3 issue. Also, to create these assets, you can make use of application which I use. This is the application which I use to create these game characters. Here you can see that we can create some animations. We can create a add new frame. We can duplicate this. We can erupt this part, make this small, make this big. So now you can see the animation taking place here. So you can use any other application too, but this is something I find interesting, so I decided to share with you. And so like this you can create like these characters you can create for the game. So this is the assets part. Next comes the prompts. So prompts are basically the instructions that you give to the large language model. In our case it's Gemini, which would generate the dialogue. Now such prompts are used in our project like this. So I'm writing this prompt and it generates the dialogue. You you must see the structure of the prompt which I am writing. I'm saying that generate a dialogue for a game character that speaks, and in this all I have given the characteristics of the character, and at the end I have said that return the dialogue in form of a JSON. This is important because we have to parse the dialogue, and to do that we need to have this same format. And this is the return part, and this is the input part. We says that traveler says, and in that we are putting a text variable, and this text variable will be the text that was recognized by this module. So it would go like this: a user will say in mic, and it would go to the listener part. It would convert the part into text, and we would be adding a prompt plus the text. For example, if the player says that, in the text the player would say that please tell me where can I find the checkpoint. If I say in the dialogue that help me find the checkpoint, this thing would go here, and this thing would be the prompt. So prompt plus text would be going into large language model, and it would return a response in a JSON format. So for example, you can see here I have said this request, and in return I got this dialogue. And one more thing is that you need not to have a Python script. You can also use this aistudio.google.com, and in this you can create the dialogues for the characters. And also this prompts would be specific to the character and also to the scene. And to submit that, you have to give this prompt and not the dialogue which is generated. In one PR I have seen that there was a dialogue, and we were like randomly picking one dialogue from that. uh, this is not a goal of the project, but we are trying to get this prompt, and it would generate the dialogues in the real time. Okay. Next comes the story part. Again, this is a non-technical part, but it is very important to have a story. So in the story, we would be giving uh, a detailed background of what would happen in the game. Like for example, this is a Back to Future game, and if you click here, we would get a small description. Now, based on this description, you are expected to make a complete story, and it need not to be a complete game, but at least one level for it. So in one issue we can create a like level 1 story. In level 1 we can give all the things that happen in the level 1. For example, if it is Back to Future, so we can say that a character wakes up in some 3000 years, and he finds that everything is controlled by robots right now, and the first task is to find a gun. So the character moves and locates the guns, and it finds the key, something like that. So all that detailed description of one level of the game would be in this story part. Now the last part that comes. Now the last part is the actual game. Now this game is preferably it would be done in Pygame, but it's not a restriction. It can be any language and any platform, but we have to make sure that it is compatible with all other things like these assets, these prompts, and the story. All these three things would be combined in the game, and we can create a script like this, which would um, create the final game which would be played by the end user. So these are the four parts in which uh, we are supposed to contribute. There are there is no limitations of issues. These are some of the issues which I created, and it's just for the inspiration. You can create your own issue. So if you think about a new game, create a issue for it, and uh, create this four issues like assets, prompts, story, game, and just say that assign me to this issue. I would assign you. Now let us see the file structure of the game. So after you clone this repo, you must be aware of this git clone command. After cloning this, you would get this this file structure. Now I can see that Back to Future folder does not exist here. So in that case, I would make a new folder. I would make a new folder, and if I want to contribute only to the game part, I would create a new app.py or any name, and now I can start coding my game here. Also, if I want to contribute to the assets part, again I would create a folder. Inside this, I would put all the images or the game assets that I want to. For the story, The story would come under the readme section. So if you want to contribute to the story, click new readme.md, and here you can write. Here you can write the storyline. For the prompts, you can create a new normal text file named prompts, and like for example, if I am taking this prompt, I would copy this. I would write level 1 bot. So on the level 1 I find a bot, and for that bot this is the dialogue. Again, if I want to create a level 3 boss, so this is a boss, and for them there is some another dialogue. You can also create dialogue 1, dialogue 2, dialogue 3, and you have to save this, and then you can create a branch and everything as per the rules of the Google Script Summer of Code, and you can make a commit. After reloading the page, I can see there is a back to future folder. I will go inside this. I can see all the files, and this is how the folder structure or the game structure would look like. uh, Apart from that, if there are any doubts, soon the channel would also be opened. Right now the channel is locked. Right now the channel is locked, so soon the channel will be open, and we can also discuss any more questions. Also, this Back to Future game, I would try to create this whole game, which would help you guys to understand how actual coding can be done. I would also be posting some of the resources for the Pi game and how to create prompts. And this, while I would create this Back to Future game, I would also make videos and I would also upload that. So I guess this will clear few doubts about how this structure works.